I'm going to start with something a little darker. There we go. Okay, this one's a poem and it's short. Why don't I just...
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll have to turn it on for you. Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. The Parktown Hotel. Room 206. Pool across the hall. The lifeguard lifts the lid. She leaves me be. Jacuzzi time. The gusts go high. A force controlled by her. Warm jets too strong to tickle. Solitudes. In my hot pepper print Speedo, no fluids flow from me. Just smooth, mechanical bursts, timed and spraying over the sides. Through the window, snowy landscape. 45 below reminder. So long ago, not so long ago, our passion in a hot tub, until things went sideways. When what was entangled were my allergies and isolation. Things went sideways. We started having sex sideways because it was easier. I just made amends. Addendum. The sex was mostly good, wasn't it? Silence. There was passion. The jacuzzi reminds me of this. There was sideways. The jacuzzi reminds me. I never want that again. Regrets. The force of the gusts and the jets. Never forget. Now, the last time I was here, it wasn't so long ago, several years back, I had read a piece about sumo wrestlers. Now, as was discussed, this is the facts of the sumo wrestlers. It is common knowledge, these are the undisputed facts that everybody already knows, and if you were here last time, you know this. That sumo wrestling is an important and highly regarded sport. That sumo wrestlers are celebrities. That sumo wrestlers weigh next to nothing and are inflatable. That sumo wrestlers have weights in their feet that keep them planted on the ground. That when these weights are removed or become damaged, sumo wrestlers are in danger of floating away, never to be retrieved. This is the story of one who got away. It happens. Sometimes no amount of cachet, the type of cachet that results from fame, can retrieve these sumo wrestlers who fade from the public eye and its skies. One sumo wrestler in particular floated further and further adrift, swaying and sashaying and shantying like an SOS bottle on the waves of the ocean, moving up, soaring through the boundaries of all the awkward navigational maps that had ever attempted to record a tiny fragment of God's schemata, with nary a wall to bump and bounce against. There is the occasional stray meteorite to collide with, making for sweeping ricochets like that of a pinball game. Has any other sumo wrestler made it this far beyond humanity's reaches, surpassing our own solar system and into the infinite realms of the universe? How is time measured out here? How much time has passed? Does anyone so much as bother to measure time out here? Is the sumo wrestler endlessly floating in a vortex of seeming nothingness? Eventually, how eventual is unknown completely, another pull of gravity scoops up our sumo wrestler. This net casts him into the environment of a whole other planet. The gravity is different here. The sumo wrestler is no longer quite so weightless. Floating downward, down, 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 and gently into the autumn branches of a tree. These branches rock him for a moment, then entwine and tangle him. All of this travel has somehow changed our sumo wrestler. The tree is located directly in front of an asylum window. There is no longer any hired help to clean the yard, including the removal of the sumo wrestler from the tree. This planet keeps some people locked in what is called an asylum for treatment of supposedly troubled mental conditions. The sumo wrestler is blocking the view of a man who resides in a cell in the asylum. His cell has just the one window, and it is a tiny one at that. They keep many of the windows tiny so that the inmates will not be given a chance to injure themselves by attempting to leap out of them. Gazing through this particular window, this man can normally view two women frequently performing lesbian exhibitionist activities. These women are visible through the large picture window of their room, which is located directly across the yard in another arm of the sprawling yet decaying building. No inmates, except for the man, have this view. Due to the arrival of the sumo wrestler, this view is now also entirely blocked to him. Including the two exhibitionists, all of the employees of the asylum are women. This is entirely intentional. None of the other inmates are of any consequence except to be kept there to avoid any speculative suspicion from the outside world. It is unknown if, in fact, any of these other inmates are actual inmates or are simply hired to impersonate inmates. The only one who matters is the one actual inmate in particular. He is a former president of the United States. The United States is what is known as a country, a landmass with borders on this planet. The title former president means that he was once the leader and figurehead of this country. Some say it was the stress of his job that caused him to crack. When he was president, he had to make a great many decisions that would affect his country. Under his administration, he made severe cutbacks to health and welfare. He had increased spending on the detection and elimination of all perceived threats to his administration. The cutbacks caused this asylum, among all others, to be completely understaffed. There is no longer any hired help to clean the yard, including the removal of the sumo wrestler from the tree. The sumo wrestler is severely lodged in the tree and has now been there for quite some time. The gated fence that runs closely around the asylum building is quite tall and dangerously pointy. So tall that none of the female employees can remove the sumo wrestler from the tree. They wouldn't anyways, as they only follow the orders of their superiors. Their superiors regard the president, the former president of the United States, as their sworn enemy. They all belong to the KGB, a supposedly defunct organization thanks to relatively modern world events. This organization was the secret police of a now shattered country. Nobody even notices that this organization is even still around, let alone in control of a rundown asylum that is holding a former US president as an inmate. The KGB wants to regain some form of power. One of their methods of trying to regain power is to get secrets from the former president. Secrets equal information, and information is power. It is unknown if their tactics of information retrieval are even plausible. Through extensive research, theorizing, and testing, they believe that these techniques will indeed work. They try to find out this former president's secrets through sexually arousing and frustrating him. The former president is heterosexual and has a preference towards watching two or more women making it. Hence the asylum only having female employees. Hence having two, sometimes more depending on the schedule, of the asylum's employees making it through the window with only the former president's beady vacant eyes to take it all in. The KGB feels that he is just about to yield some juicy secrets. So far, one of the only secrets that they have been able to yield is that he really misses what he calls pussy. A hidden tape recorder is constantly running in his cell with an open line to the KGB's head office. Their methods have now been waylaid thanks to the obstruction caused by the landed sumo wrestler. Head office does not know about this current situation, a situation that has thwarted their elaborate plans. No one in head office has made it down for an official visit to the asylum, as their paperwork is currently in permanent disarray. All of the asylum workers follow direct orders from head office. They never sway from these orders and otherwise only speak when spoken to. The two women in the window keep on performing their sexual activities, though it is now only exhibitionists to each other. It does not matter if they are even lesbian per se, they are just following orders. Any view of them whatsoever is still completely obstructed by the sumo wrestler. Extensive cosmic travel has done something to our sumo wrestler. He is in a constant state of ever-blossoming transformation. The former president of the United States watches the sumo wrestler contort into an apple. an orange, a peach, an ice cream cone, a fire truck, a puppy, a coat hanger, a light bulb, and more. Much, much more. All of this has freed up the imagination of the former President of the United States. Imagination is unlimited freedom. Thank you.